back to my channel. Today I'm finally making the video on the subconscious mind that I've been talking about making for weeks now, on the characteristics of the subconscious mind that you need to know in order to heal, in order to change your life, transform your life, in order to heal attachment trauma or a rewire attachment style. All of these things require subconscious reprogramming, and you cannot reprogram something that you do not understand in the first place. You cannot teach someone something when you do not know what the person's skills are or aren't. Like, you cannot teach someone math without knowing if this person knows basic addition, subtraction, multiplication, or if they have zero concept of numbers whatsoever. You don't know where their learning was left off and where you need to pick up from. Yeah, where you need to pick up teaching them math. You get the point. So welcome to a video on the subconscious mind that will help you not only know the subconscious better, which will in turn help you understand yourself and human beings as a whole better, but also will make understanding how to reprogram the subconscious mind much more easier, and having more knowledge and being equipped on how to make your own mind and your subconscious work for you, for your greater good, for the greater good of people connected to you, for your evolution, your growth, and your fulfillment and happiness and freedom. So let's get into it. Number one, the subconscious mind is a needs meeting machine. Believe it or not, your life, you're constantly seeking for some need or the other to be met, whether that's the need for recreation, whether that's the need for leisure, comfort, entertainment, and that is recreation, whether it's the need for significance, the need for connection, the need for touch. There are so many needs that we are constantly seeking to meet. Now, needs are of three layers. The third layer or the outer layer are your moment to moment needs or your tertiary needs. The second layer are your personality needs or the needs that are closely tied to your personality and preferences. And then the inner layer, the six basic human needs. Now, every human being has 5 to 6 core personality needs that lead back to the six basic human needs. The tertiary needs are closely linked to the 5 to 6 personality needs that is linked to closely to the six basic human needs. Now, I know that's a little bit confusing, but what we need to know about this, I will try to find material that I can put in the description so that this becomes clearer to you. But the Personal Development School again has put all of these things, compile them. If I could share resources, I would, but I don't think I'm at liberty to. But yeah, I could make a list of the needs on a document and probably share that with you. Now, why is it important to know your needs? Because your subconscious is a needs meeting machine. When you are unaware of your needs, your subconscious will try to get these needs met through whatever means possible, and that might not always be healthy because we all grew up with a certain um, programming that was modeled to us while we were growing up, either by our parents or by our caregivers, and what we saw around us. That's how our subconscious realities got formed and imprinted. For example, a strong need for anxiously attached people is emotional connection, a strong need for avoidantly attached people is space, independence, and autonomy. Without proper realization of these needs and proper methods by which you can communicate these needs and get them effectively met. So, for those who have a strong need around emotional connection, and for whatever reason they're not able to emotionally connect with the person they crave emotional connection from, or they deem as the primary attachment figure, especially anxiously attached people can really be detached from their emotional attunement to themselves and seek out emotional connections from their primary attachment figure, that could be their parent or their partner. If they are not able to emotionally connect with someone they want to emotionally connect with, and their emotional connection need is at a complete lack, like it's not filled, that bucket of need is not filled at all, but for whatever reason their partner, for example, is busy, cannot emotionally connect with them, they've been going through a rough patch and they crave emotional connection so much to the point where they might subconsciously pick a fight just so that the emotional connection need can be met, because conflict has two people engaged emotionally, albeit through the emotion of anger. And both parties have heightened emotions, are connecting on a level of heightened emotion, and that is a form of emotional connection, even though it is negative. So, that reassures an anxiously attached person's need for emotional connection, and that meets that need for emotional connection. There is a warped sense of feeling that if someone is engaging in conflict with me, that means they must care because they care enough to fight. That might be something on a conscious level, but on a subconscious level, even connecting through the emotion of anger is a form of emotional connection. And your subconscious is always seeking to get needs met as fast as possible through whatever means. That's why, if you're not consciously aware of your needs and actively developing healthy strategies to meet your needs and making sure that you're meeting your needs in a healthier manner, meeting your needs first instead of putting someone else in the place of being responsible for your needs being met, things like that. If you're not driving the meeting of your needs, your subconscious is driving it, and who knows what your subconscious thinks is the fastest way, the quickest way to get your needs met. Knowing your needs, becoming aware of your needs, is the sure shot way to healthily develop patterns to meet these needs effectively, because your subconscious is in fact a needs meeting machine. No human being is absolved of this fact and truth. It is a psychological universal truth that we are all driven by our subconscious, that is essentially a needs meeting machine. Number two, every human being has core beliefs, and every insecurely attached human being has a set of core negative beliefs that are often very patterny. Like, fearful avoidance have a set of core negative beliefs. Anxiously attached people have a set of core negative beliefs. For example, I will always be abandoned, I'm alone in the world, I'm not good enough, etc., etc. These are core negative beliefs that have been formed and imprinted on our subconscious, and they become comfort zones to us subconsciously. For example, if someone grew up around unsafety and chaos, their conscious mind might want the opposite of that for themselves, but their subconscious will constantly recreate those environments of chaos and unsafety and reproject those things because they grew up in that environment. It was a comfort zone for them because they learn to adapt to such an environment, and they learn to gather all these coping mechanisms and patterns and ways of thinking and existing around the fact that they lived in such an environment. So when they're out of such an environment, it's not a comfort zone because it's unfamiliar. So safety is something that these people will subconsciously sabotage. So every person's core negative beliefs or core negative wounds are driving them towards recreating those wounds again and again. An anxiously attached person will have an abandonment core wound, for example, and they will keep recreating scenarios and situations that lead them to being abandoned. Not to mention that they also abandon themselves more often than not. So, our subconscious core wounds are our subconscious comfort zones. We hang on to them because they are familiar and we knew how to survive in those situations, and our brain is wired for survival. So, our subconscious will keep recreating that unless and until we reprogram our subconscious mind. Unless and until we reprogram our subconscious mind, which is very much possible to do. People who have witnessed people not changing are basically witnessing people who have not gotten out of the patterns that their subconscious has been recreating in their lives. Change is very much possible in every single human being, but you cannot just change a habit, or you can't just change consciously. You have to change subconsciously. And that is going to bring me to my third point in a little bit. But people who do not change are not aware of the subconscious programs that are keeping them in a stuck loop of the same patterns again and again. That's why you hear people say people don't change, people will never change. This is a myth because people are very much capable of change. They just need the right knowledge and tools to be able to make those changes. Because with subconscious reprogramming tools, you can change something that has been a pattern for 20, 25 years or more. But if you do not know where to target, you know, the self in order to create change, in what way to target the self, then change becomes very difficult. Know that change is possible for anybody as long as you know the effective ways by which you can in fact implement that change. Anybody can change if you have the effective tools to implement change. Which brings me to my third point: how do you rewire your subconscious mind? How do you reprogram your subconscious mind? I've talked about this in terms of manifesting and visualizations and things like that in relation in videos before, but what we need to understand when it comes to these tools and techniques is what is the language of the subconscious mind? How do things get imprinted into our subconscious? The language of our subconscious mind is emotion, repetition, and imagery. If something is constantly repeated to you over time again and again, or your life shows you something for a period of years during a phase of your life, maybe your teenage years or your young childhood, when you're the most impressionable, life showed you certain patterns, your circumstances exposed you to certain patterns, and these patterns got imprinted into your subconscious because they were repeated over time. A truth, a concept was repeated to you over time, an opinion was repeated to you over time. So repetition imagery and emotion together, they comprise the language of the subconscious mind. Um, the only time something can take the place of repetition is intensity. Someone has a car accident that was really traumatic, and even though it was a one time event, that can prevent them from ever wanting to sit in a car again. That is intensity because that is such a traumatic imprint, right? So, that is the only time when repetition is not necessarily happening, but it's still enough to create an imprint, a negative imprint against cars. But usually, when we are trying to reprogram the subconscious mind, repetition, emotion, imagery is what is used. So, when you identify your core wounds, and then for each core wounds, for example, I am alone in this world, you find proof like 10 to 15 items of proof from your memory of when you were not alone and people were supporting you. Visualize the times when you were not alone and allow the visualization to evoke emotion in you, and repeat this to yourself every day for 21 days. It takes 21 days to create a pattern. So this is how you reprogram a core wound. Slowly your subconscious will register like, wait a minute, I am not alone. Find opposing items of proof against each core wound, 10 to 15. Relay that to yourself. Not in the form of affirmations, but actual proof from your memory of when you were not alone, when you were not trapped, when you were not abandoned, etc., etc. And you will find that the subconscious will reprogram and rewire its ideas around being alone or being abandoned or being trapped or whatever the core wound is, being unsafe, etc., etc. So that is how you rewire your subconscious mind and reprogram your subconscious mind in the language of the subconscious. The fourth characteristic of the subconscious mind is that your conscious mind cannot overpower your subconscious mind. This is why, even though you consciously set a resolution saying that, hey, I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to become healthy, but don't follow through with it, it's because you fall back into your subconscious comfort zone. And you might have a subconscious comfort zone of, I'm lazy, or um, I don't really need to go to the gym. There's no program that is supporting you effectively showing up to the gym. It could even be a subconscious comfort zone or a core belief around commitment or subconscious fear around commitment, that prevents you from staying committed to something. Yeah, FAs like fearful avoidance have a strong fear of commitment in general. They are averse to making plans beforehand, they're averse to wanting things from the future, they are averse to commitment because they are afraid of, if they will feel a certain way towards it tomorrow or not, which is rooted in the penduluming. Again, we have talked a lot about FAs on this channel already. You can go revisit those videos for deeper context. But yeah, so if there is a subconscious comfort zone around laziness, or like a subconscious pattern that you've told yourself again and again, repeat it to yourself or repeat it to others, I'm lazy, I'm lazy, I'm lazy. If that is the case, you cannot consciously make a decision and then stick to that decision that is the opposite of what has been programmed over time into your subconscious. So always, the subconscious programs that we have will always keep us in the cycle of what's familiar to it over conscious decisions. So if you really want to make a change consciously, target yourself on a subconscious level. Give yourself, for example, I have a friend who's told himself, I'm lazy, I'm lazy, told others, I'm just lazy, I'm just lazy, to the point where he believes it to be true. So what will the subconscious do? The subconscious will push you back into patterns that are in alignment with that belief around yourself. So give yourself, again, the whole reprogramming thing, give yourself proof as to why you're not lazy, for example, and repeat that to yourself again and again. When you target your life from the space of being aware of your subconscious wiring and patterns, that is when you will win at life in every single possible way, in your career, in your relationship to yourself, in all seven areas of your life. Which brings me to my fifth and final point. Our subconscious mind dictates our reality. Quite literally, we create, recreate our reality, what we attract, what we chase after, what we create, even if it's non existence, we can bring something into existence based on what is in our subconscious mind. Our external reality will become a mirror of our internal reality. Read the book, The Power of the Subconscious Mind. It will tell you exactly how much of a hold our subconscious patterns and projections have a hold over, how much they have a hold over our external reality. So become aware of this because we always recreate reality, recreate things in our lives based on what we're used to, what our subconscious is seeking out, what our subconscious thinks is our comfort zone. And many times, our subconscious mind will be in opposition to our conscious desires. We could want something for ourselves, but be holding ourselves back. We sabotage ourselves, get in our own way, all because of patterns of the subconscious that have been outdated, that worked for us once, maybe when we were in survival mode, or growing up in an environment where we had to be a certain way in order to survive, in order to adapt, to stay safe. But those patterns are outdated and they don't serve us anymore, and recognizing that, realizing that, and putting in the effort to rewire and reprogram that is what will help us be more in alignment with what our present self wants, and what is good for future versions of us, and present and future versions of us. So that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I will do my best to give you as many resources as I can in the description below, and I will see you guys next time. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the post notifications so we can stay connected, and I will see you next time. Bye.